Marko, welcome, brother. It's an honor to be here with you today. Thank you for joining. You are the embodiment of a high-level martial artist. We've trained before. I've had the honor of training with you. But what I've also discovered is that you also embody a high level of discipline, right? Of character. And you've found your path and been able to walk it and create your path along the way. And that's really what's so interesting to me, right? Is those rare, unique individuals that can find their passion and turn it into their life, right? And you're the embodiment of that. So thank you for joining today.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor for me, and have all the memories that when we trained together, man. We have some beautiful moments. I still remember that training under the rain, going through the water and doing some flow there and connecting with nature and all that. It's beautiful, man. And I'm blessed to be here. Thank you. I appreciate it. And what can I say, man? I never thought, that kid, with this passion about martial arts was going to end up being in the biggest Hollywood movie fighting against Keanu Reeves in John Wick 4. Like, it's beyond any type of dream or imagination, But I feel that I'm not here to tell a story of a success or anything. I believe I'm here to tell a story and how you can co-create your reality with different actions and understanding that there's four engines where I can call, or four strong forces that if you learn how to use them on your favor and towards the same direction, you can become the co-creator of your reality. And this is, my conclusion. I think if I look back, and to understand how in my life, with different events, this was always present, So this is something cool, man, and I'm happy to be here and to share,
Can you tell me a little bit, before we dive all the way into it, tell me a little bit about that kid, right? Tell me about when you first fell in love with martial arts. Tell me about that journey. Young Marko, who was he? How did you find this path?
Yeah, well, this is if I can tell you, it will be the first engine when I talk about these forces. The first one is the emotion, right? That is connect with your passion, and what do you do naturally? Like, for you is not work, for you is just enjoyment, and for you is something that happens easy to you, and you don't feel you're doing any effort. You're just being yourself, right? Naturally. And in this case, there are some people that they haven't found it yet, or they haven't done the work to understand that. And for me, what helped a lot, well, my mother, she was a black belt in karate. So when she knew that she was pregnant with me, she was at the dojo training, right? And then when I was born, and since I'm a kid, I always saw her training. But really what opened that path to me and that connect with that emotion and that passion was inspiration. So for me, that's why it's so important to help our kids and to feel inspired, like to show them people that love what they do. So I think that's a good way to discover in us. For me, it helped. And that person for me was Bruce Lee. I saw him in Enter the Dragon, and from that day, when I saw that energy, when I saw that charisma, and that, I knew from that moment, this is the path that I want, and I connect with that passion, and that's how I discovered this, right? And I remember that for me, when I was a kid, it was all about discovering, like, that physique. Like, I wanted to learn how to move like that, how to look like that. It was a little obsessed, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was wearing a panty in my head because my hair was curly and Bruce Lee hair was straight. So that type of craziness I'm talking about.
You have to be obsessed, though.
Yeah.
You have to be obsessed when you find your passion. Put everything into it.
Everything, right? Yeah. And so that will be, is to, that's the first engine that I call it, and the other three, so people can follow this or can understand, is our head, right? Is the word, and is the action. So this is something that I would like to share through the story that I can tell you of how as a kid I grew up with these four engines present in my life all the time.
So martial arts was in your blood. You were born into this.
Yes.
This was your purpose, right?
Yes.
And it seems like you found it at an early age. So you were born and raised in Chile, correct?
In Chile, yeah.
And tell me about when you were starting that journey. It sounds like you were training originally with your mother. Tell me what the training was like as a young man, right? Were you in a traditional dojo? Was it just karate? Did you train other martial arts?
Yeah, because I was such a big fan of Bruce Lee, I wanted to find Kung Fu, right?
Okay.
But in Chile, it was very hard. There was karate instructors, but our influence was only the movies. There was no YouTube, there was no internet, so only the movies. And in the movies, the karate people were always the bad guys, right?
Okay.
So I didn't want to do karate. I didn't want to wear the white thing with the belt. It was like I was a kid, and so I wanted to look for Kung Fu. So because there was hard to find, I remember started with the Taekwondo. Then I find a Kung Fu master, and then I switched from different styles. But then, as I grew up, I felt that I didn't want to follow in any doctrine. I wanted to understand. I was very curious with movement. I wanted to learn that kick from Taekwondo, that block, for example, from karate, or that speed. And then I started researching in high performance athletes, and why that guy runs so fast comparing to the regular guy, or why this athlete is such. Like what they do or how they train to become such a big difference or a regular guy, right? So I kind of started not following so many doctrines of martial arts and start to learning from different sports and disciplines to kind of understand myself, how to improve. So that was the way that I follow, and remember, there was no YouTube, there was not a lot of information about martial arts and training back then. I'm telling you, this is 30 years ago, right? There's no UFC, there's no,
It was very much a solo journey, right? In the beginning.
Yes.
We grew up in the same era.
Yeah.
And we followed a very similar path, right? Yeah. So a lot of it was you would learn here, but then you would practice on your own, right?
Exactly.
A lot of alone time.
Yes.
This is also a lonely path, right? The path of a martial artist. You have your team, you have your dojo, you have your teachers, but you have to also spend a lot of time in isolation, like perfecting your craft, making the kick perfect, right?
Yes.
And this is a unique quality that I think a lot of people struggle with, right? Maybe like this, spending time alone with themselves, like honing in on the craft, right?
Yes.
This is an important aspect.
Well, for me, that's the other engine this is the other engine that sometimes we need to learn how to educate. That's the head.
Mm-hmm.
Because in that moment when I was young, of course, my father wanted me to study, to follow a career, to work. And I felt as an intuition, because of my passion was so clear for me, what was my path. But of course, the information we receive from society, from people, from friends, from what you see, it's like, oh, no, you got to do this. If not, you're going to fail in life. You got to do this, you got to do that. And your head that's what your head tells you. So your head, sometimes, if it's not educated at the beginning, is always trying to kind of, I think your head does it as a way of protecting you based on what the other people think, what we see on TV, what we hear, but not about you. It's not protecting you from you. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
From that passion and that instinct. That's why when you connect your head with that emotion, now your head works with your emotion, with your passion. So it will guide you to follow that. But that's a work. And I think that's a word that a lot of people don't realize. You got to understand, you are not your head. So you gotta use it right. You gotta learn how to guide your head to tell you what to do, so it doesn't detach you from your journey. You see what I'm saying? So this is for me, like, for example, I remember when there was a moment that I left to Mexico. I fall in love with a girl, and that was a very big, powerful force. I think love is very powerful. That allowed me to just say no to this reality. I don't want this. I'm going to go to Mexico. I'm going to follow this girl, whatever. I felt that life gave me that sign to just, I'm going to do this so he can see from another perspective. So when I was in Mexico and I started training again, I arrived, I was training. The first thing I did to this girl is like, I love martial arts, and I do this. And so she was like, oh, I know a guy that has a school in Mexico that is from Chile. I was like, oh, really? So she introduced me to this guy. And this guy, when I arrived to his gym, the first thing I see is a poster of him doing a kick in a movie. And back in my country, was not even a possibility to dream to make a martial arts movie, because there was no movie industry, right? But I was like, oh, wow, this is so crazy, right? But it's not crazy. What happened if I would have not shared to this girl that I love martial arts and I want to do, action or whatever? She would have never introduced me to this guy. So you see, that's an example how word is also very important. So I arrived to this place, and then we became very good friends. And then he introduced me to these people who are doing these very low budget video movies that they produce it in Mexico to sell to the Mexican community that was in the United States that didn't speak English.
Okay.
Right? And there was a whole big industry, and I did like 5 of these movies without even knowing anything about acting or anything, just because of my martial arts and my interest, right? And I was like, wow, it's like, now this could be real. That's when it struck to me. It's like, listen. And of course, I always stay training. I never disconnect with my martial arts, because that was all the time. I arrive, I train with him and all that. And then I'm in these movies. And I was like, no, I got to learn acting now. That's my head now working in favor of my passion, connected with that, right? So it's like, how I get better at this, how I get ready and better, so when I get another opportunity. So that was very important for me, that moment, right? To understand that if you don't talk, if you don't believe, and if you don't have that faith, like, I think following your dream is also something of faith. Like, it's an act of faith. You gotta trust. It comes from there. It's like, it's so powerful. Like, because at the end, nobody can guarantee you the result of anything. But if you have this feeling here inside, and you make that decision, and you trust, right? And you have faith, and you align these engines towards that, I think that's when magic starts happening, you see? And that's how suddenly I arrived to Televisa, and they gave me a scholarship to study acting. And I was like, wow, Televisa, it's like the biggest TV channel in Mexico, Yeah, they do soap operas and all that, but I'm going to learn acting. At the end, acting is acting, right? So yeah, that was a very powerful moment for me,
So a lot of people, I feel like, first struggle in finding the passion. I hear that from a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
That I don't know what my passion is. I don't know, like they haven't found that thing that lights them on fire. You were fortunate that you found it at an early age, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts or ideas for people that have not found it yet, of how to begin to find their inner gift, their inner fire, their passion? What are your thoughts on that?
The older you get, I think, is the hardest.
Yeah,
why?
yeah.
Because your head is full of information, of ideals, or judgment, and fake success stories, and this is how you're supposed to be. This is how, if you want to be successful, you have to do this. And the more information your head has, the more power it has to shut down that inner intuition and that inner feeling, right? So I think the exercise for me that works it's kind of like childish.
Yeah.
It sounds, but I imagine myself in an island where everything, or you know what, when COVID. Part of my story, I tell you what happened in COVID, but I don't want to go there so fast. I'm just give you an example, and then we go there. It's just imagine yourself in an island where it's just you, right? And then you just visualize yourself, right? And then you imagine what you will do in that island. What do you think the first image that comes to me is I'll start training, I start doing movement. So then I realize, okay, well, this happens naturally to me.
Yeah.
You see, some people maybe like to sing, some people maybe like to go hunting. I don't know, like maybe you start discovering from the emptiness of that mind that, what will come naturally.
Yeah.
What's your, you're in an island with all, with a lot of things to do. But there's no achievements, there's no money, there's nothing. You got all the toys, you got all the elements, but you're in an island isolated by yourself. Nobody to impress, nobody to make an explanation, not money to make. Just do whatever you can, whatever you will love to do. And you connect with that. What you can be doing 24 hours, 24/7 without feeling that you're working. Right? And today I know that it's tough because at the same time you need to make a living, right? So that's how you make action, that's the other engine, part of your journey and as a plan to follow your journey. So that's how you use action and you give a purpose to whatever you're doing, even though if you're doing something is not related with your goal. For example, I remember when I arrived to LA, I was a dishwasher and then I cleaned the gym, but I was cleaning the gym because I didn't have money to pay the gym. But because I cleaned the gym, I have the keys. So I could train whenever I want. So that cleaning of that toilet had a very clear purpose that was aligned with that intuition, with that passion, with that thing that I have. Doing washing dishes was for me to pay rent, to be in Hollywood, to be able to see the sign and go, I'm here. This is part of my journey. So no matter what you're doing, if you're able to find that you're doing that is part of a plan, that you give that to a purpose, then everything you do is going to have a different meaning for you. You see? It's not like, I'm doing this and put a purpose on that, clear, that is aligned with this, and that's how you align all these actions, you see? So for me, when I was in Televisa, I remember I finished studying and they made a big offer, and I call it this the Adam's apple, like in the Eden, like the Bible.
Yeah.
And this happens many times in life. And that's when you gotta face your head again. You gotta, you look at yourself and you look at this one, and you start this conversation here. And this happened many times. This is not a one-time thing, And they offered me. They said, Marko, I think you have a big future here. We see you as a leading soap opera actor. You could be very good. We want to offer you a contract to stay here with us. And we see that you have a lot of future and we'll pay you monthly, not to work, just to be here, working in your acting, your accent, and then until we find you a project for you could be the lead role on a show. So the first thing in my head, you made it, man. You made it. You came from Chile. Now you're in Mexico. You're going to be a soap opera famous guy, a lot of money. That's the first thing my head was telling me. And it's good. And I understand because the head kind of wants to protect you from, with all the information that this accumulates, right? From here, right?
Yeah.
And that's, for me, visualizing. How you spell that?
Visualization.
It's like, okay, I breathe and I go, okay, how is one day of this in my life? I try to go through a day. I'm going to be learning lines. I'm going to be acting all day. It's very stressful work, right? And I'm not going to be doing any. When I'm going to train, when I'm going to connect with the passion that I discovered that I have, that this is my path, right? Because the guy told me, yeah, but you know what? We know that you like martial arts, and we see your videos, and here you're not going to do any kicks. You know, at the most you're going to receive a slap in the face from a broken relationship or something, right? And I saw this, and I tried to visualize that, and I realized, no, there was something uncomfortable when I went through those images, when I focus on this. And that's, again, faith. And you got to talk to this one and say, listen, no, man, we got to say no. And the more you face these moments in life, your head starts backing you up.
Yeah.
So when I said no, my head said, you know what? You're right, man. Let's go to Hollywood. So my head told me, you're right. Let's go. You see? Sometimes if you're not ready or you don't have this training enough, we'll go, are you sure? And all the fears come. So the more you go through this, then the more your head start, following. That's why when I say you gotta train your mind, you gotta, it takes time, like every training, right? So that moment was when I went to Hollywood and I arrived, and the first thing I'm doing, I'm washing dishes, I'm cleaning the gym. And trust me, there was a lot of moments that I'm doing the dishes. I'm like, man, I think I screw up, man. I should have stayed in Mexico. Trust me, it happens.
Yeah.
But then, again, no. Just, you gotta have faith, man. You gotta do this. It's like never.
This takes strong character and will. This is where a lot of people break. So I want to ask you a question here, right? So you said a couple of things. First, visualization, right? Can we talk a little bit more about that? Because for me as a martial artist, I think visualization is a very powerful tool. And as I've come to work with people, I realize a lot of people don't have this ability to really visualize and make something real, right? And to be able to listen to their intuition. As a martial artist, I think a lot of times visualization is important because, especially where we started, there was not that much instruction. So you would have to see a move, visualize it, and then be able to kind of allow your body to mimic it.
Yeah.
Right? Was that a part of your early training, visualization, in your actual physical practice?
Yeah, of course. When I remember learning a new move.
Yeah.
It's like I practice all day the move and I couldn't do it, and then I go to bed and I'm like trying to go through the move. Because at the end, we are all energy and we're all information that is traveling, and you're sending signals of movement to your body. So we're like electricity, and then your head moves and your leg moves. And so if you train before you go to sleep the movement in your mind and you see yourself doing the move, you're still training and teaching your body how to do the move.
It's putting in extra reps in the mind, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
It's extra repetitions.
Exactly.
Right?
And then you see yourself doing it.
Yeah.
You see yourself doing it. And
you feel yourself doing it too, right?
Yeah.
Feeling is important too, right? When you visualize a new technique or move as a martial artist, it's about feeling, wait, if I'm kicking here, the balance is going to be here. I'm going to put more weight here. You have to really go in depth into the visualization, right? And make it feel as real as possible. That's a skill. You're not just seeing like a two-dimensional picture.
Oh no,
right?
of course.
You're feeling the energy and embodying it, right?
Yes. I remember doing that. It was like part of my training before I go to sleep. I go through the movements.
Yeah.
In my head, and
That's a superpower as well. And then a lot of people can see things, right? They have ideas and concepts, but like you say, they don't have the ability to bring it into reality, right? They don't have the ability to push forward. And from what it sounds like to me is that you've built this discipline. I think discipline, it sounds like, has been an important part of your journey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To be able to push through those hard moments.
Yes. The thing is that at the end, when you're aligned, people tell me you're very disciplined, but I don't know if it's discipline. I don't know if it's just understanding who I am. And when you understand who you are, you just cannot be something that you're not.
Yeah.
So I just do it because it's part of me. It's like, so it's not discipline because it's not suffering.
Yeah.
So,
You're right.
and sometimes, yeah, you gotta. Oh, today, man, I'm tired. I don't want to go train, or it's raining. But you know what? It's like we all got that.
Yeah.
But the more you understand that's you, and when you experience the joy of connecting with who you are, the moment I get out and I start moving, there's not been one day that I go, man, this is awesome. You see, it's like, even though the day that I didn't want to train, you know, it's like, man, I cannot believe that I even thought about not doing this. Mm-hmm. You know, I remember that one of the days that it was raining, remember? And that train that I never going to forget, it was like, it was raining, and you know what, it's complicated. Let's do it. And this was one of the most powerful trains that I never going to forget. It's like, so at the end, it's like, yeah, that's why I'm telling you, your mind needs to, the more you quiet your mind and you educate your mind to to be connected with this, it's when I feel you don't even need discipline. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if in my language it translates for English, but maybe that's discipline. That means discipline. I don't know. But for me, I kind of hear people saying, "Oh, you're so disciplined. How you do it?" It's like, for me, it's not hard. I don't know how to express this.
Because you're following your passion, right? And on the outside, it looks like discipline to people because it looks hard and challenging, but when you're doing what you love, there's no other choice, right? We wake up every day and I know I'm going to train, not because I have to train, because I get to train and I love to train and it's who I am, right? And it's how you cultivate that energy and bring it to the surface.
Yeah, because
that's what we're here to do.
Exactly. Because if you tell me, Marco, I want you to do, I don't know, something that I don't like or work, I'm not going to have the same discipline.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, I'm going to be, maybe the way that I am, I will find a purpose. I will try to make a fit and give it a purpose that is going to be connected with myself and with who I am, because I've done other things in my life and I've done it with that same passion, but because I'm able to connect. And that's why I wanted to continue, telling you the example of what happened in my life after. Like when I arrived to LA, it was hard and I was, in this gym cleaning, right? And because I'm speaking, I'm using the power of the word, I'm training. Then some of the guys tell me, man, you did movies in Mexico. Why you don't go to this gym in LA Valley College where all the standing people train for the movies? And I went there, I'm training there, and suddenly, man, I arrive and I see these people doing some crazy martial arts. Like, I was like, oh man, I gotta retire. I've been losing my life, my time all my life. It's like, there's no way I can do this, right? It was such in another level that I got intimidated, and I'm like, I remember I cried like for 3 days, that I paralyzed. I was there and I was so in shock, and I thought that it was good. In my country, it was good. I remember walking through the gyms and not challenging, but, I want to try the class. But really what I wanted to do is to have a sparring with the guy that he was teaching to test myself.
Of course.
I was that kid.
Yeah. We all have to go through that part of the journey. Yes.
Right. And I was good. I had very good kicking, and I always was very surprising techniques. And I arrived to this gym, man, and I was nothing. I couldn't even understand what they were doing in the air. And I was, oh my God. And I faced that. It was so painful, and it was just an like, I cried like a kid, like for 3 days. And then I said, listen, I'm not going to stop until I learn this. And from that moment, I was the first to arrive to the gym and the last to leave. And I started evolving as I'm doing all these crazy tricks. And I started becoming the only heavyweight guy in that time to do this crazy flipping in the air. The movements that we train together. That is not common for someone this size on this time, right? Because it was just like a merge of gymnastics with breakdancing, with acrobatics, with martial arts for the movies, and it was like bringing this human performance to like a different level that we've seen in the movies. You know, in the movies we've seen back then, the only spin kick you see is Bruce Lee or Van Damme, like the split.
Yeah.
That was like, wow. Here you're talking about 720 spins, corkscrews, like butterfly twists with double spins. It was crazy, right? And I'm with the guys that they just starting to do this. The number ones in the world of the new generation kids that are doing this crazy stuff, right? So I was like, wow. So when I started learning all these moves, there was one guy there always look at me. Hey, what's up, Marko? He was the right hand of Jackie Chan's stunt team, and he offered me, he saw me and he's like, do you want to work on stunts? Do you want to work in Hollywood? And he offered me to be the stunt double for The Rock in the movie The Rundown. And I was like, wow. And that was my first introduction to Hollywood, right? So I asked my questions like, what happened if I would not keep training? What happened if I would not tell in the other gym what I love to do and share that passion and share and speak? A lot of people do things, but they do it to themselves, right? And they don't like to share. Remember, we are here to communicate. If we don't communicate, magic doesn't happen, right? Nothing of this would have happened. So that's the engines: passion, the head, the word, the action, working together to put me in the place at the moment that I needed to be, right? So big Hollywood movie, doing stunts, you know, met The Rock. He's an amazing guy, you know, have fun. And here comes another Adam's apple. When I could follow a career of a stuntman, you know, I was perfect. I won the World Stunt Award and all that. But I realized the stunt world is such a big industry. I didn't, you know, I was not going to be doing martial arts much. Because a stuntman, if you want to, you know, you gotta ride, you know, a motorcycle. If I'm the stuntman of The Rock, I would have to. If he does a comedy, I'm gonna have to be his stunt doing comedy, following of a car. So it was again another very good offer that I could go. Oh man, I made it in Hollywood, you know. But it was the same. Visualize what is gonna be my life doing this. Even though stunt, it's amazing. Like it's a beautiful career. Like the same with soap opera. You could be an amazing actor and have a beautiful career, but it was not aligned with the emotion, with the passion, right? And that's when I decided. And in that moment, my head was more trained. So it was my head right away told me, no, you're going back to Chile, grab this money, and create your own movie to express yourself as a martial artist. And that's how when I went down to Chile. And I create Culture, that it is the first Latin American martial arts movie ever made. And I apply everything that I learned with Andy Cheng, you know, in this movie. And I apply it in Chile. And it's the first, you know, theatrical release ever made martial arts movie in Chile. It was a big success. It traveled the world. And then I stayed in Chile doing this. And I did Mirage Man, I did Mandrill, and I started doing these movies, and suddenly the world started noticing me as a Latino martial artist, like the Latin Dragon, doing like crazy martial arts in Chile. Like everybody was like, "Wow, this is crazy, right?" So, and you know, well, then I don't know if you heard about Scott Atkins, an amazing martial artist. Saw this guy from Chile. Oh wow! So he offered me to be in Undisputed 3. You know, and now I'm the villain in a American Hollywood movie. So then things start happening. You know, it's like, wow, you know, what would have happened if I would have stayed in LA and be in stunt? Yeah, I would be very, you know, accommodated. I would have a lot of money. I would have a beautiful career, but it would not be aligned with who I am. You see, so yeah.
Trusting your intuition. You had incredible temptation to pull you away from the path, but that takes a lot of resiliency, will, trust, belief in yourself, deep belief in yourself, right? To be able to stay on the path. What do you think is the source of that deep belief in yourself? Where do you think that comes from? Because that takes a lot, right? If you have an incredible offer, you're going to be a stuntman for The Rock, right? To walk away from that and go to this path that's unknown, right? You don't know if you're going to make it or not, to believe in yourself. Where do you think that came from?
Again, I think it's that connection, that constantly connection of who you are. And for me, is my training.
Yeah.
Because even though if you, because it's hard, and I cannot tell you another way. It's like there's many times that I cannot make movies as a living. I always have to do other things to live, right? But I never stop training. I never, I always try to live at least 1 hour a day to do that I love, that connects me with who I am. Because if you do that, then you're going to be much more in tune with this. You see? And that's when you always have this strong intuition that can fight your mind and can remember your mind, who you are. And that's when your mind stays aligned too. And now you have your mind and your intuition working to the same direction. But if you stop connecting with that and you stop doing what you are, then the mind starts taking over with fears, with the new information he's getting, whatever. And then this thing starts controlling you, you see? And for me, it's like I've never, even I was in the darkest sides in my life, I was always find a way of training and stay connected with that. And I think maybe that's the reason why.
Training is your connection to the warrior spirit, that it really is your essence, right?
Exactly.
And every time we train, we awaken it. And when we feel it, what you feel in training is stronger than all of the noise in the mind, right?
Exactly.
And everybody else's opinion, what everybody else thinks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
When you get into it and you really feel it going through you, it's not just an energy. It's not just like a feeling of strength. There's like wisdom inside of it, right? There's like a voice. It's a guide. It's a guide, right? And that for both of us, right? For me, martial arts has done the same thing for me, right? Like every single day I practice so I can connect to that voice and allow that voice to be the guide.
Yes.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. And listen, man, there's been challenges. I remember after doing all these movies in Chile and all that, it's beautiful. We traveled the world. We won a lot of festivals. I start creating a name onto me, but the money was not there, right? For some reason, I had a business partner, American business partner, and at the end, he was a con man.
Okay.
So he stole all the movies from us. We didn't see $1. And I was so disappointed, right? I was like, it was such a big thing to me. It's like, because I got involved, a lot of friends in these movies in Chile, and everybody was so excited. And suddenly I see the movies played all around the world, and I'm not making any money. And I fought with some friends, and they trust me. And I couldn't understand what was happening. And then when I realized this, I decided, I'm done with the movie industry. This is crazy. It's weird. Like, I cannot trust this, and I cannot continue something that I don't trust, right? But that's not me. I'm a martial artist, and I love martial arts. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be a fighter. Because I knew this was clear for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't put any label to what I was going to do with martial arts. It could be teaching in school. It could be fighting. It could be movies. I knew that my life was about expressing myself through movement, right? As a martial artist. So I start training MMA to fight. And it's like, I'm going to be a champion in UFC. In that moment, the UFC starting, right?
Yeah.
It was already very popular. And, and at the same time, to make money, I was like, what I can create that helps me to make money, because as a fighter, you understand how it is. It's like, I got to survive, right? I create Keyway, the way to your inner energy. In my case, I was in that moment very involved with nutrition because of my training. So I decided to create my own energy drink that has just the maqui berry from the Patagonia of my country, guarana seed from the tribes in Brazil that they used to go hunting, and they chew this, and it just gives you focus and give you that awareness, but without giving you that shakiness. So it's something that I've been using my whole career for my training, and with this I can sell it to my friends. I can, in that moment I was already had a name in Chile, so how I can use my journey and my story to make a living while I'm getting ready for fighting. So I create this energy drink, right? And I travel the whole country sharing this product because I really believe in it, because I created for my needs. It's like, this is what I would love to take. for my training. Not this, not this, not this. The market is like full of crap, you know that. So I did this and I create this product, right? What happened is I was about to travel for my first fight, you know, to start getting this, and I receive a call from Robert Rodriguez that he's seen my movies, and he wrote me a role in Machete Kills, named Zaror.
Okay.
You know, I was like, wow. So I was like, oh wow, what would have happened if because I quit movies, I would have stopped training? I would not be able to be ready. So action. You see what I'm saying? I stayed connected with this. So when that opportunity came, I was ready. And I grabbed the plane and I said, listen, this is a big message. You know, this is a sign that is telling me, Marko, man, listen. Right? And I traveled and I did this movie, Machete Kills. It was amazing. Robert Rodriguez was a big inspiration for me as a filmmaker. So that's when I went back on track, and I never imagined that all that work that I did as a fighter, you know, I started training MMA, some no-gi wrestling, techniques that I didn't train before. I was going to end up using them for choreographies in my movies. You see?
Yeah.
It's like, then you go, oh, this is mad. This is coincidence. It's not coincidence. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
This is what I've learned, that how these engines work. It's like if you stay honest to these engines and you educate them to guide you to the same direction, coincidence start happening, like magic stuff. Oh wow, I cannot believe this happened. But it's because of this reason, you see. And I end up after doing a movie called Redeemer in Chile, you know, after we realized, hey man, there's a con man, that's why we didn't see the money, So people told me, Marko, let's try it again then. Let's do another movie in Chile, you know, and we make a martial arts movie. And we did the movie Redeemer, and that movie got sold like more than 80 countries. It was in Japan, in France, like all over the world. And that movie and in that movie, what I did, I add all the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling, and it was very gritty because I have now this new knowledge and this new training, and the movie did very good. Reviews everywhere, like, wow, the fight scenes are amazing, and blah, blah, blah. So that's how life works. It's like such a, you know, that's why you cannot attach to a form. You need to have these engines working to the same direction, but then you gotta
adapt,
surrender
yes,
to whatever the path is gonna take you. But if you have this aligned, you know that path is going to the right direction. But don't try to control that path. You know, then you gotta trust in life that it's gonna put you in the right place in the right moment. This is kind of what I realized, and for me it was like, yeah. After Redeemer, I did other, you know, I did a series from Dusk Till Dawn, The Defenders. Like I start doing roles, little here, little there. But always hard with the money, same thing. I was not in the point where I could, I'm an established actor, now I'm making money. No, like people think they see you in a movie, oh no, this guy has a lot of money, you know, he made it. It's not like that. You know, you're making movies, you're making roles here and there, you make some money, but you never know when the other movie's gonna come. So you gotta stay there in this, you know, in hustling and that feeling that is tiring and you do. And I did this movie with Robert Rodriguez, and the movie didn't do what maybe you think. I'm with Mel Gibson, Sofia Vergara, Lady Gaga. This is it, man. Like if you see it from outside, it's like I'm, you know, from Chile. I'm next to Mel Gibson and all these big stars. This is gonna make it for me. Then I'm done. No, you know, the movie didn't do that good. You know, blah blah blah, and that's it. And the movie happens, and then you gotta keep. So I did all this movie. I even did a movie in India, Sultan, with Salman Khan and all that. And then, you know, I go to Chile for a vacation, and COVID happens. The end of the world, the reset, right? When I was like there, like, you know, almost like, and then suddenly, man, everything shut down. There's no movie industry. There's no even teaching. There's no schools of martial arts. There's nothing. Everything zero. I was isolated in a house of a friend.
Where were you?
I was in a Pichilemu, in a beach in Chile.
Okay.
Because I didn't have a house. I went with a bag, to visit my family, and I'm stuck there. I had to get rid of all my stuff in LA. And I'm like, man, this is the end, man. Listen, like, what we're gonna do? Like, we were seeing the animals jumping into the city. It was crazy, right? And that's when everything started from zero. The first thing, I was like, wow. The head. Trust me, in that moment, the head went a little crazy. Even though it was educated. But when like, Marko, okay, man, now the little money you have left, we gotta use it right. Maybe we can start something, a business to sell, to survive, because this is the end of the movies. We don't need to train so much. And the first thing I started is, okay, I was alone in the beach because it was a summer house. So there's no people allowed in there because people were not allowed to be in their second home. Mm-hmm. So a friend told me, man, I have a house there. You should go there to do the quarantine. So it was quarantine. So I'm sitting here alone, and the first thing I started, meditating every day, every morning, sunrise, meditation. And the first thing I did, start training. Totally the opposite of what my mind was telling me.
Yeah.
Just following this. And then little by little, my mind started getting aligned again. And then I start ordering stuff, creating a little gym right at the beach. So I train with the sunrise, and then I contemplate the sunset, going run at the beach, just living that present, right? And the first thing that happened to me was, you know what? If this is the end of the world, I want to do something that I will love to, as a thank you, as a gratitude. I want to do an homage to everything that inspired in my life, and just put it for free in YouTube or whatever. So new generations can, maybe the same way Bruce Lee inspired me, can use this as to find their path, right? So I grab all my notes of nutrition, training, philosophy, everything that I've wrote to my friend Ernesto, that we create all these movies together. And he wrote a script, a story about this warrior, right? Called The Fist of the Condor. That's kind of like our martial arts classic movie, inspired on all the old Jackie Chan movies, Bruce Lee, like the classic martial, but from the Latin culture, with our music, with our elements, with our landscapes, and with my journey as a martial artist, as a guy from Chile, absorbing different things from different places of the world. And we have this script, and when I read the script, I was like, listen, it's a beautiful, let's do this. I spent all my money I had. I said, listen, I can live here. I can go to the ocean, fish, get food. I can live with like $500 a month in this little town, right? I'll teach, when the things start open up, I can teach and survive, right? I didn't care. But I need to do this. And I put together a team, and we end up doing The Fist of the Condor. We didn't even know if it's going to be a show or whatever, because there was no movies, there was no nothing, right? And yeah, man, it was very powerful. We did this video, and it came down beautiful, and a lot of things happened after that. Like I can tell you, like, when things start opening up, suddenly a friend of mine called me, Marko, I'm going to release a movie here in LA. I want you to come to LA because, like I'm saying, 2 years after, right? We're going to show this movie in a theater, in a festival. I want you to come. I was like, oh, really? Okay. So the first thing I did, I communicate to all my old friends. When I was in the stunt industry and all that, I started forwarding the Fist of the Condor trailer. I put together like a trailer, right? Oh, look, I'm going to LA, look what I did in Chile when we were in quarantine, And I start sending this. And suddenly, a friend of mine, Marko, JJ Perry, big martial artist, now director, Marko meet Chad meet Marko. And I was like, oh my God, wow. And I had a Zoom with him, and he's Chad Stahelski, creator of John Wick. And he tells me, Marco, I've seen your videos, I've seen your movies. They talk to me about you, and I have a role in a movie I want you to consider, to play. Are you busy? What are you doing? And that's the moment when I close my eyes and I go, this is a call that I've been training all my life for this moment. And I said, I'm ready whatever you need me. This is like, it was so powerful moment. 1 second. And I said, and that's when he said, okay. And I fly to Berlin, and I was doing the biggest role of my career, like with the best people in the world, learning from this beautiful team. And just, what can I say, man? What can I say? And I asked myself, what would have happened if I would not do that video, The Fist of the Condor, because of fear? If I would have followed my head, what would have happened if I didn't share that video? No, it's low budget. I don't. So action, the word, the head was in the right place. What would have happened if I would not train? I would not be ready for that call. So that's why you see this as a magical moment, but at the end, is this engine working all the time, aligned to the same, going to that same purpose. You see what I'm saying? It's like, what can I say, man? Then, well, after that, it's like things open up for me. I remember, after John Wick, I started, Fist of the Condor ended up turning into a movie, was released in many countries. It became a cult cult movie.
Super cool movie. I loved it.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it.
It was like released in Japan in the cinemas. It was crazy. And then, I end up doing other movies here, like, Killer Games, Firefly, and I just released my movie Diablo, and another movie with Scott Adkins. And yeah, man, I've been, working nonstop since then.
That's incredible, man. And I think that moment when you got that call, the reason why it's such a powerful moment is because it gives meaning to all the sacrifice, right, that came before it. Yeah. Right? It's all one thread. It's all one happening. We can't see it when we're in it, right? When we're in the suffering or we're struggling, right? But that ability to just keep taking one step forward, we don't know where it's going to go. And then when life finally rewards you and gives you the gift, it gives meaning to the whole story, right? Yeah. From your childhood, all of it is one continuous thread, right? Yeah. And it's that ability to continue taking the step forward.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I also think a lot of what you're talking about, right, is these engines, the way they drive you, they allow you to become a co-creator. You are the creator of your reality, but there's something, I don't know how to put it into words. This dimension that we're in, this reality, this life that we're in, we're co-creating with the universe, and the universe responds to your energy, to your frequency, what's happening inside, right? And if you believe that you can't do it, you won't be able to do it. But if you believe you can, and you put in the work, and you put in the action, the universe meets you. It's like a dance, right? Yeah. It's like a dance, and the universe is also going to test you along the way. Marco, how bad do you really want it? We're going to take everything away. Are you still going to train? We're going to give you this temptation. Right? So there's all these temptations and challenges along the way, right? Yeah. This is the hero's journey that you're on, that you're talking about. This is the hero's journey, right? You stay the path. You still believe in yourself, right? Yeah. This is where beautiful, this reality and this life becomes magical. You're living a dream right now, right? A dream that could you have ever imagined as a little boy in Chile when you first started kicking and punching? Could you have ever imagined what you'd be doing right now?
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, it's true, man. It's
powerful.
Powerful, man.
And it keeps going, right? Yeah. It keeps going. We keep going deeper.
Yeah.
So you've had the opportunity to train with world-class martial artists, but also world-class, of course, actors, right? Yeah. I'm curious, along your path, who are some of the most inspirational actors that you've been able to connect with? Right? And who are some of the most inspirational martial artists that you've been able to train with along the way?
Actor, Keanu Reeves, man. What can I say? That's a hero. Like that's what for me is something that should be the hero that we should follow.
Yeah.
Not the guys that they show us in the idea of a hero that we see now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He's just such a powerful human being, man. He's like, I don't know, man, how to explain. It's inspiring to see him working, to see how humble he is, how given he is, how the way, he's been through so much, and the way he carried himself on set and with the people that he worked with, and it's so powerful, man. It's like so inspiring, the way that he does everything with so much passion and professionalism, and he's very good at everything he does. And it's like you cannot imagine that this guy, it's already such a big movie star and all that with this idea that we have of success, right? The guy is just when you see him working, he's like he has this joy of a kid doing what he loves to do.
Yeah.
I want to be like that. I want to always be this kid. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's very inspiring, man.
He seems also to have real martial arts skills, right? He
trains. He
right?
trains for every movie, the way, for not only martial arts, guns, cars. Like you see him doing the stunts of the car, man. It's everything that is, of course, not very risky in terms of like danger. He's doing it. Like he's doing all the flips with the cars, and it's amazing, man. His skills are amazing. But the most amazing thing is the way the human connection the way he shared himself with the people he worked with is real. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's very powerful, man.
And I'm assuming that's probably very rare in the industry that you're in as well, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of ego.
Yeah, of course. It's it's a tough business,
Yeah.
And as a martial artist, there's a guy called Jeremy Marinas that is just a monster, man. He's just a guy that's from another planet.
Where is he based out of? What kind of martial arts? What kind of training?
Actually, he's the right hand of Chad Stahelski.
Okay.
He was created by Chad Stahelski, or he learned under his wing, right? But he's just, I remember in John Wick, they brought the Japanese team from swords, right? And he just grabbed the swords and just used them as the same level, or some things even better than the experts in sword. Like this is a guy that he dominates every martial arts, every movement with such a precision of his body. Like he has a body awareness that I've never seen. It's just an amazing martial artist. And I remember we're practicing the fall in the stairs, and he needed to fall, flip, hit a tree, and then keep flipping down. And there was a stunt guy trying to do it, like rehearsing million times, and he couldn't do it. And this is the first time you're in that location. There's no way you practice that, so you gotta just do it until you get it, right? And this guy is just relaxing there, looking, when the guy was in the 10th attempt and he couldn't do it, this guy goes, you know what? Look, man, you gotta just do this. Look, you gotta. And then he just did it at the first time perfectly. And it was so hard because one thing is to do a move. Another thing is to understand the angles of the environment and see how your body is going to bounce and fall. And it is just incredible, and yeah, he's an amazing martial artist, man. And it's very inspiring. And every time I have a chance to work with him, I know I'm going to grow.
Yeah. That's it, right? Finding people who are masters in their craft and being able to train with them. We absorb that, right?
Yeah.
Especially in martial arts, you feel other people's energy and they up level you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How do you manage your ego and the egos around you in the industry that you're in? Because that's a big part of it.
Yeah, man. You know what? I don't fall in that game, man.
Yeah.
I try to send as much positive energy, always give a smile to everybody, and be thankful for the moment that I'm living, And when you're in that, it's very hard to get, when you live with, when you're grateful and you live with gratitude, right? It's very hard, and you're aware of that. It's very hard to get affected to that, or to get contaminated with that, right? I know it's a tough place, but at the same time, if you stay connected with that, I just don't get affected. And life has put me with very nice people, you know, like for example, this movie that I did, Diablo, with Scott Adkins. He's an amazing martial artist, beautiful human being. And from the first moment we connect in the movie Undisputed, it was just like a mutual connection. It's like, I saw that kid.
Yeah.
I saw myself, and we connected from there, and we became very good friends. And every time we're making a movie, everybody could say, oh, how they don't compete. You know, they're the same action stars, whatever. But man, I just want him to look the best in every movie we do together. That's, for example, in Diablo, that I was the fight designer and I created the choreography. My work and my passion was, I want him to look the best. I never thought, oh, he's going to look better than me. Same thing when we did Undisputed. He invited me, he told me, Marko, I want you to look the best. You see, and I'm lucky to have met this type of people in this journey. You know, people that they are full of gratitude and they want you to shine.
Yeah.
You see, because they don't feel that their light is going to be less, you know, if you shine, you know.
That's so rare, right? But that's also because that's what you are, and you're attracting that, and you can also see it in other people, right? I feel like all of this is a reflection of who and what you are, right? We're creating the path. We're also creating the people that we're attracting in our life. So that's incredible. So I want to ask you a question. Right now, you are at a beautiful place in your life, a peak in your life, right? It's a beautiful moment. All of these things are coming to you. If you could give a message to people that are on the opposite end of the spectrum, right? Because you've also been down here, right? There's a lot of people right now that are suffering, that are struggling, that don't have the confidence, right? That aren't physically strong, that aren't mentally strong, that aren't spiritually strong, right? That are at rock bottom right now, right? That are giving up, that feel like they have no hope, right? What message would you give them, right? What action can they take? How could you help people in that moment, that are in that place right now?
Well, just find 30 minutes of your day to play without any ambition, without any try to accomplish anything. Just play and find that joy in yourself, doing whatever it is, without judgment, without prejudice.
Yeah.
And that's gonna start opening things for you, little by little.
Play, right? Play. That childlike quality, right?
Yeah.
And you still have that, right, as an adult. Like inside of you, I see the young kid who wanted to be like the super martial artist. That's still inside of you, right? That's still that desire, that seed to become the greatest martial artist as a kid. You still carry it with you, right? We have to keep that inside of us, right? And we're very lucky that we're able to do the things that we found as a little kid that we loved and still be able to do it, right? But it comes from that playfulness, right?
Yeah.
From that enjoyment.
Yes. And when you start feeling that, I feel you start creating things on you.
Yeah.
And you start discovering things.
Yeah.
You know.
Tell me about what the language in your mind is like. I work with a lot of people, a lot of like professional athletes, a lot of high level performers, right? And I think it's also important to understand like your self-talk, right? Like what is the language in your mind when you meet the moments where you want to give up and you're breaking, whether it's in a physical training or just things happening to you in life? What does the language in your mind sound like? If I could listen to what Marko's brain is like.
I always find it's an act of faith to tell myself that everything happens for a reason, that is going to be better for me, that I have to be faith, that I have to trust and surrender to whatever that is. So when something bad happens, it's like, I know it's strong, you can feel very bad, but you got to just trust and surrender that you don't control things. But if you take that in and you trust you will discover why you need to go through that.
Mm.
You see, because we cannot control anything. We cannot, we don't control. We need to surrender to whatever life want to give us. So when you have these four engines working on your favor and things bad happen, you need to trust the process of it, right? So in my case, what I do is, this is gonna be for. I'm trying to speak how my brains work, right?
Yeah.
So I close my eyes and I go, I know this is bad, and oh man, this is gonna be for better. I don't know yet, but I want to discover this. So let's continue. Let's go training, relax, breathe. Let's just do what we know, what to do the best. Let's play. Let's through my training bring down this feeling of frustration. Let's find the calm point, and we're gonna start understanding why this happened. You see, this is kind of the way that. So that's why I end up going training, and I become very, very strict with that. I don't give up on that because something bad happened. You see, because that always keeps me aligned on that.
On the path. You believe and you have faith. So what I feel from you, right, is you're a very connected person to your spirit. You keep referring to what's inside of you, your heart, that thing that's sometimes is hard to put into words, right? But we can feel. Do you have a belief with a higher power, with God? What is your relationship with that?
With that, yeah. I do believe that we're part of, like, I am you. Like, we're all part of this big thing. And our job is to communicate and to be the better version that we can be, to pass this experience or this energy to whatever is next. So whatever I do is whatever I'm going to receive, because it's energy. You see? So I don't do it for you, I do it for me, whatever I do. But because I'm doing it for me, it's going to affect the people around me. So I'm going to help others through helping myself. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's not, it could sound selfish or it could sound egocentric, right? But I don't feel that, because I feel sometimes you can focus too much on others and you put yourself on the side. And at the end, there's not much you can do for others. The only thing you can do is inspire them to be a better person, from example, not from words or giving them lessons or anything. It's just be the best version of yourself, and this is the best way you can help millions of people. And my example is what Bruce Lee did with me and with many people in the world. How he, through his passion, inspired people to follow a journey and to find their path in life, and what could be more powerful than that,
That's it, brother. And you're doing it. You're doing it, man. You are the embodiment of it, man. So I appreciate you coming. Is there anything else that you would like to share? Is your message anything else?
Yeah, that, man, is like, play, allow yourself. Don't take that beautiful thing that we have when we were born, that we have moments of that playfulness, to just do things just because, just to be with yourself and have fun and enjoy. Don't always, I know life is very hard and it's very busy, but don't get trapped on that to the point that you don't let yourself to connect with who you are. And I think that, and
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you, brother.